Hey, what you doing there, bro? Hey, man. Just writing down my goals. My goals for the year. Hey, yeah, man. Goals are good. Goals are good to have. Here, man. Let me take a peek at them. Oh, no, that's okay, man. They're private. They're just for me. just for me. No. Hey, let me see. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Back to the Cardboard. Shannon here, and glad you joined me. Glad you're tuning in to watch this. And just wanted to, since it's a new year, 2020, just wanted to go over my goals for the year and kind of get them on camera. That way I've got something to look back on, and if I make it, that's awesome. If I don't, then that gives me something to strive for the next year. Hey, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about my goals. Before we get into that, I'll show you some real quick Christmas gifts that I got this year. First off, and these come from my brother. Got some card savers. Nice, got to have those. My brother also got me the 20, let me see where my focus is already at on vintage. A 2018 hanger box, series 2, so you know what's in there, right? Zipping it back down. So we'll be opening that on camera. And then I got from my wife a Topps Chrome Blaster 2019. So we'll be opening that. And I got something else from my brother that's pretty cool. It's the Tales from the Cincinnati Reds Dugout. It's by Tom Brownings, pitcher for them. And he has some really neat stories. How it's written in here, it's just kind of broken down into two little snippets of different stories and stuff, but I just kind of thumbed through it. I've not really started reading it yet, but I found this one little thing. This just kind of gives you an idea of what this book's talking about. It's entitled, one of the chapters is Charlie Hustle at the Helm. This is when Pete Rose was managing the Reds, and the little title of it here was Let It Rain. It says, one of the best parts of having Pete as a manager was the occasional rain delay. He was a great storyteller, and during rain delays, we'd all get together in the clubhouse to hear about the pennants and the World Series they won back in the 70s, the Big Red Machine. It says, for the younger guys, there was no bigger thrill. Hear those battle stories and stuff. Davey Concepcion, and Doggy, which is Tony Perez, were still on the team at the time, and they acted as Pete's supporting cast. Talk about living history. I'd like to have been there and heard some of that. It was just great remembering all the events I watched as a kid and hearing it from their perspectives. You know, Tom, I'm sure, like most of us, watched the Big Red Machine in the 70s and got to listen to the accounts firsthand from Pete. So these memories, especially the ones from 75 and 76, were and still are rooted in me so deeply. There we are in Game 7 of the 1975 World Series. Pete would say, thousands of people in Fenway Park are screaming, it's nut crunch time. We're playing in the greatest World Series ever played. And I look Carlton Fisk dead in the eye and ask, is this a great game or what? I must have heard about these series 100 times. And each time was better than the last. I never get tired of listening to those stories. You could sense the intensity in Pete's voice every time. He just couldn't do anything half-assed, not even when it came to telling a story. So that's just a little snippet out of the book, Tales from the Dugout, the Cincinnati Reds Dugout by Tom Brownings. Pretty cool. Pick it up. I'll be reading some more stories out of here, hopefully. If you guys like, maybe not, I don't know. But let's get on with the rest of the show. I've got a couple of sets of goals. I've got collecting goals and I've got hobby goals. And start off with my collecting goals. Number one, I want to complete this year a 1980 Topps set. Of course, I've been in the hobby since May of this year, back in the hobby. And I don't have any complete sets. I had 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, and 87 once upon a time. I no longer have them. But I'd like to start off with 80. Never had a complete set of that, but it was always one of my favorite sets. And growing up, it was one of the sets that I probably had the most cards from early on anyway. You know, as I got older and got a job and was able to, you know, afford more things, I was able to, you know, complete sets of 82, 83, 84, but I never had a complete 80. So that's one of my goals this year, is to do a complete 1980 set. Another thing too is goal number 2 is I want to get more organized. I've got all my cards in boxes, the 2-row slab boxes. I keep non-slab cards in there as well, and it's a lot of stuff to go through if I'm looking for a particular card or something like that. So I've got something big in mind, and stay tuned for something really cool coming down the pike as far as organization wise. Something too I want to do this year is goal number 3. I want to concentrate more on vintage cards. I like the modern stuff. I like busting packs. I like, you know, ripping open packs and boxes and stuff of the modern stuff. But it just, I don't know, it just doesn't do it for me. I love the vintage. I like looking at it. I like the nostalgia. I like reading the backs. And it just, to me, I'd rather put my money into something that I know is proven, something that's there, instead of putting it in on, you know, the hopes of getting a rookie or something like that. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm still going to collect those guys, but the older vintage stuff, there's no speculation there. It's already established. And so that's my goal this year, is to look more into vintage, older stuff. 82, 83, you know, and newer than that. I know that's not technically what you call vintage, but anything older than that, and look into the 50s and 60s, 50s, 40s, and I love the T206 set. I plan on purchasing some more of those this year. So that's one of my goals, is to concentrate more on vintage and not so much on the modern stuff. Also want to finish completing my bench, my Johnny Bench player cards, the cards that was produced to him while he was a player. We'll get those all slabbed, of course, and I like to complete that set. I'm not real far from it, so that should be an easy goal to obtain this year. I've got the bigger ones out of the way, purchase-wise anyway. And speaking of big purchases, I want a Jackson rookie this year, Reggie Jackson rookie. I come close to pulling the trigger on one last year, and I don't want nothing crazy. I don't have to have a 10 or even a 8, 7, or 6. I just want one, you know, that has eye appeal to it. The grade really is not important to me, as long as, you know, it's pretty well centered and not real bad creased up. I'll be tickled to death with it. So that is my collecting hobbies this year. Now I want to switch gears for a second. I want to talk about my hobby goals. I separate those. My collecting goals are different than my hobby goals. The hobby goals are more aesthetic, more just not a, you know, a material thing. And I got 5 goals that I've written down, and I challenge you guys to the same goals as myself. And number 1 is connect with others in the hobby. I've been collecting cards, back to the cardboard, since of May of this year, or last year, I guess now, 2019, and had a blast doing that. And then found this community on YouTube and connected with some of you guys, started putting out content, and that's one of my goals this year, is to connect more with you guys out there, learn more about you all, and interact more with you all. That's one of my goals. My second goal is to collect the card, not the grade. Early on, when I got back in it, I looked more into the grade. And if it was a 9 and it was somewhat off center, okay, you know, this is a pretty good deal. But now, I don't know, I'd rather have a nice card with eye appeal. I don't even pay attention. Like Eric with those back pages, I wish a lot of these slab cards would come with that blue tape right over the grade. And that way, for me, I don't want to get hung up on looking at that. I just look at the card. And I want to focus more this year on looking at the card itself as opposed to looking at the grade. So that's goal number 3. Goal number 2, so I want to help others. I know early on you've seen signs in my background helping others, and I think it's very important that we mentor someone in the hobby and help them along. If it's giving cards or advice or whatever, I think that's very important and helps the future of our hobby, to help others out and to mentor somebody. And even if it's giving them cards, you know, I know I have a kid at church that I know he collects cards, and I've been giving him cards, and it just, I don't know, it tickles him to death, and it really pleases me to see him happy, and when it comes to cards like that. So I'm tickled to death, and that's one of my goals. I'm going to help others more this year. Goal number 4 is don't get distracted. Don't get caught up in the hype, I guess probably I should say. You know, Alonso coming down the stretch was approaching the rookie home run record, and his cards, you know, peaked out, and I got caught up in it. I was wanting to try to buy some. I bought a few. I just don't want to get caught up and distracted from my collecting goals, as far as completing my 1980 set, as far as the completing my bench, and putting more of my focus on vintage cards as opposed to the modern hype and stuff like that. Just don't get distracted from your goals. And your goals, I'm sure, are completely different than mine, and stay focused on them. Don't get distracted. And then last but not least, and most important, have fun. Without that, you might as well get out of the hobby. You know, I lost interest in collecting in '94 when the player strike, and I dropped it. And there was other reasons too. I had to get out of it, but that was primarily the main reason. And at that point, I just wasn't having fun collecting cards. And now I'm having a blast. I love it. I can't, you know, I eat, sleep, and breathe it. It's in my blood, I guess, now. But have fun. That's the most important thing. If you're not having fun, then you have to ask yourself, is it really worth it? What am I here for? If I stop having fun, then I'm going to be out. So that's what it's all about, is having fun. So just remember that. So that's my collecting hobbies, or collecting goals for the year, and my hobby goals for the year. Thank you all for following along with me, and until next time, God bless you, God bless America, and remember our troops, our soldiers overseas. Until next time. Peace.